right, welcome to Red Eyes Radio. Friends, regular and new listeners, this is Henrik Palmgren. Our website is redeyescreations.com, and we do indeed have a real treat for you today. Richard C. Hoagland is with us. I know that you guys and gals out there listening have been wanting to hear him on Red Eyes Radio, as we have as well, of course, so this is going to be a lot of fun. If you don't know about Richard and the work that he's been doing throughout the years, I can say that he and his team over at enterprisemission.com have not only been investigating anomalies in our own solar system, but they have also been looking at the traces of an ancient civilization, both on this planet, Mars, and beyond. Richard have been talking about things like the secret history of NASA, hyperdimensional physics, strangeness and oddities in science, and popular culture connected to these themes. He's popularized a lot of the very interesting ideas about an ancient civilization on Mars, and he's probably most known for being one of the people looking really close at the face on Mars and pointing out various finds, science, structures, and geometry between different landmarks, primarily in the Cydonia region on Mars. He's written The Monuments of Mars, A City on the Edge of Forever, and his most recent book that he co-authored together with Mike Barra, who we had on the program almost a year ago now, is called Dark Mission, The Secret History of NASA. And there is a new and revised and updated version out now as well. He's also produced a number of very interesting video presentations as well. For more information about all of these things, enterprisemission.com is the website that you need to visit. Richard C. Hoagland, welcome to Red Eyes Radio. It's great to finally have you with us.
It's great to be here.
Excellent. Richard, Mars obviously is a big node point in your work. Obviously, you've been also looking at certain moons in our solar system, especially Europa, one of the moons of Jupiter, Iapetus, the third largest moon of Saturn, and now most recently you've been looking at Phobos, which means fear, by the way, that strange moon of Mars. And this is what we're going to go into in some detail about during this program, obviously. But I think the first question I'd like to ask you, Richard, actually is about 2010, the year we make contact. We're almost soon halfway through this year. And I'd like to ask you what you make of Arthur C. Clarke's ideas about contact with ET. Will it happen? Has it already happened? But the majority might not know about it yet. Lots of disclosure discussion going on, to keep it short. What do you think about all these things, Richard?
Well, as you said in your opening, I've spent almost now 30 years looking at various aspects of NASA and ESA and the Russian Space Agency and the Japanese and the Indians and the Chinese. And the conclusion I've come to is that the data that we are presented, the data we get to see, the photographs, the amazing imagery that has come to us from these spacecraft, has been filtered. It has been censored. We are not being allowed to see the real solar system. And instead, interesting and important and crucial data about our real, celestial neighborhood is allowed to trickle out in a kind of a time-release aspirin, as we say in America, mode, where people are inculcated in a kind of a drip, drip, drip mentality, where independent researchers like myself and many others have been talking and presenting and discussing and doing interviews like this for years with data. And I believe now, after 30-some years of doing this, based mostly on the ritual aspects that I discuss in Dark Mission with Mike, that we are on some kind of a time release of the information as to who we really are and the celestial neighborhood we really inhabit and who really built what out there. And so when I hearken back to my friend Arthur Clarke's curious film following 2001, which Arthur did with Peter Hyams, which was 2010, and the subtitle, The Year We Make Contact, I really have to take that seriously, because Arthur was probably one of the innermost of the people that you could talk to in terms of the hidden agendas that I discuss in Dark Mission. So I have political reasons, really strong political reasons, backed up now by a series of events that have occurred only in the last few months, to feel that before the end of 2010, we will probably, and I use that word, very advisedly, we will probably be shown data, information, at an official level that confirms what our research has been showing us over the last 30 years, which is that the human race is definitely not alone, and in fact is surrounded in the solar system with all kinds of ancient clues to a history that we have no idea has gone on, but will probably begin to unfold at an official level this year.
Do you think that this will be of an, as you mentioned, ancient nature, or we're talking about ET as alive and out there kicking around, so to speak?
Well, then you have to go back and you have to look at why this agonizingly slow release of information without official confirmation. I mean, as you know, we live in a culture, both here and there in Europe, where unless someone says something officially, almost nobody believes it.
Right.
We have lost the ability to independently process information and to come to our own conclusion. We are desperately waiting for an authority figure to tell us the truth. Now, I see, glimmers of light in that dismal horizon. There are more and more people who are thinking independently, and the Internet has given us extraordinary tools to independently find information, to cross-correlate it, to come to conclusions, but most people still don't do that. They wait for someone in authority to tell them reality. If that's the mode, then you have to hearken back to this document that we found, 20 years ago, 25 years ago, which we called the Brookings Report.
Right.
Which was an American report based out of NASA, commissioned by NASA of one of the think tanks in Washington, D.C., back when NASA just was formed, which was in the summer of 1958, which, of course, is 52 years now in the past. And in that document, they discussed the impact of various NASA investigations and what they term, I always love that term euphemistically, the out years. And they projected in this report, an official government report commissioned by NASA, called Brookings. Actually, it had a more complicated title, but you can find it if you search on the web, the Brookings Report, or if you go to enterprisemission.com and look for Brookings, you'll find it there. They basically said in this report that the human race was not ready to understand its real relationship with our celestial environment and our ancient history, et cetera, and certainly not with current extraterrestrials. So they proposed in this document that there be a, decades-long educational, inculcational, whatever you want to call it, program, which would ultimately wind up with people being stable enough, mature enough to handle the truth. Mm. And I think that they picked 2010 as the year based on 58 as the beginning of the process, 50 years, half a century. So I fully expect that something interesting is going to be officially admitted in 2010, and we're seeing all kinds of evidence in all kinds of official areas, that, which I'm sure we can get into, that in fact this hypothesis is probably what's going on. And again, it's so difficult to make, reliable political forecasts, yes, as opposed to technical. And this is definitely a political forecast. So if 2010 passes and we kind of miss by a few months, like it's really 2011,